Gentry system, in my opinion. Drew Holiday is.
Yeah.
Drew, to me, is the difference, but he's still going to be out of basketball shape, and so is Tyreek Evans. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like they're going to come in and instantly the Pelicans are going to go on a 10-game win streak. That's not going to happen.
I don't know because I say even Drew out of shape and Zeke out of shape and not fitting the system is still better, in my opinion, than guys like Moore and Galloway and Cunningham, stuff like that. I realize Zeke is more of a banger inside. He's not really a fly down the court type guy like Gentry likes. And Drew, even though I know they say he's been working out 2 times a day, he's in shape, it's still not NBA speed type deal. But even them at half capacity is better than a lot of the guys that we're given 10, 12 minutes a game. I know I'm not a big basketball guy. I don't know as much as I know about football by a wide margin. But even I can see that them coming back should make enough difference only because how AD's playing. His PER rating is so high, just his performance is so high. If he was playing at, say, the same level he was like 4 years ago, I would say it doesn't make a big of a difference. But because he's playing so insane now with the team basically being loaded with 8s and 9s, I think they make a big difference.
I think they'll make a difference, a huge difference. I can't see it happening simply because I can't see. Well, Drew. I think Drew is the quintessential player. I think he does the dirty work. He's a good perimeter defender. He knows how to get AD the ball. But Tyreek is a ball hog. He doesn't want to play defense, and he really doesn't fit. The system in the sense that Alvin Gentry has a ball movement system. Tyreek is more of an isolation player. Give me the basketball. Get out of my way. Let me do what I do. If I feel like passing you the ball, I will. When I don't feel like passing you the ball, I'm just going to try to, I'm going to try to go 1-on-5 if I have to. And I think that's where the problem comes in. I think AD can put up the shots that he can right now because he has guys that really understand we have no chance of winning if we don't get this guy the basketball. Tyreek Evans doesn't feel that way. Tyreek is like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And, if I pass the ball to AD, cool. And I think that's where he's very, very different than Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday understands that AD is the best player on the team. I think Eric Gordon had that problem as well, and we see what Eric Gordon is now.
Yeah.
For my money, I would have tried to re-sign Ryan Anderson. That would have been a move I would have made. But, hey,
Yeah, I get that. And now they're both over in the Rockets team that has no defense. It's all offense. I get Zeke. I think he kind of is changing a little bit. I mean, it seems his mindset's kind of adopted the past couple of years to me. I mean, but really, all you really need from him is to do, 15, 5, 5? That's the most you really need from him?
If he was willing to accept the bench role, I would let him do whatever the hell he wants to do. And I'm being flat out honest with you. I would let Tyreek Evans be my backup point guard, but he's not going to. That's his problem. Tyreek doesn't want to come off the bench. But as a bench player, I would let him do whatever he wants because there's nobody on the floor on a second unit that's going to be able to stop Tyreek Evans with the ball in his hand. But the problem is I can't play him with AD all the time because Tyreek Evans believes, number one, he's a jump shooter. He's not. And number two, he believes he's the best player on the team. He's not. So, that's 2 strikes already. And they're not just little strikes. They're major strikes, which will stop the basketball team from being what they are. And I think that's his problem. He hasn't quite figured out just yet that, if I get that big dude right there to basketball, chances are he's going to draw a double and triple teams, and I'm going to be wide open. I can shoot all day long then. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to go 1-on-5 and say, you know what, I know there's 5 people down there, but damn it, I'm the best one out of all of them. Forget who's down there. It could be 5 Michael Jordans down there. Tyreek Evans is going to take them all on. So,
yeah, you're right.
Anyway,
but I
that's
mean,
enough about basketball.
Yeah, in terms of injuries coming back and people fixing positions, we might have Danielle Ellerbe play 2 games in a row for the New Orleans Saints. I know, but I'm excited about it because the defense was so different. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to notice it, but him and Bro back, and yes, I realize there was not a Peyton Manning-led attack in Denver, but still, even with that aside, the difference that Ellerbe made in the zone coverage just at the second level, and Bro and even Sheldon Rankins getting a little pressure on passing downs, man, this defense is much different than they were, week 2, week 3, week 4.
Here's what we can't deny, because not only does the feel on the play show it, the numbers back it up. When Ellerbe is on the field, he's a difference maker, and no one can deny that. The problem has always been his health. And he hasn't been healthy since he's left Baltimore. he's definitely a difference maker when he's on the field. Of course, Delvin Breaux's still trying to get back into game speed, and even with that being said, he's still, I said it myself. Delvin Breaux is the best thing that's happened to the Saints defense since Darren Sharper before he started slipping pills in young ladies' drinks. I mean, he's that good. He's a game changer and a difference maker of which we haven't seen along these parts. For the life of me, I've continued to say that, for as much as people want to point out that the Saints may miss Jimmy Graham in the offense, but they may miss Darren Sproles in the offense, the biggest keys that the Saints have lost have been their cornerbacks, because when the Saints had Jabari Greer and Tracy Porter, I mean, they were absolute studs out there. I mean, you could do nothing with that defense as far as throwing the ball because you had two solid corners on the outside. Well, now you got Delvin Breaux as one solid corner. Hopefully you can find a way to match another. I know the Saints went after Joe Hayden to try to see what they could do, but Cleveland's asking price was a little too high for him. But you've got Delvin Breaux, and that's almost like having, a savings account with your checking account. As long as you've got that savings account, there's money banked right there, you don't have to worry about ever being overdrafted. That is what Delvin Breaux allows the Saints to have. You don't have to worry about that side of the field because you know it's covered. And he's going up against some of the best. Emmanuel Sanders did not have a good game, and neither did Demaryius Thomas. They didn't have great games. It was Denver's third receiver that was the guy that was killing them.
Yeah, I will say that he did have quite a bit of rust because Demaryius Thomas really kind of had his way against him Sunday. But, I mean, Sheldon Rankins was rusty in his first game. Ellerbe had some slight rust on him. I mean, that just happens when you come back into the NFL after sitting out for 6 weeks. But, I mean, we definitely have a lot easier, I wouldn't say easy, but I don't worry too much about Carolina's receivers. I know Kelvin Benjamin and Olsen are extremely talented, but Cam Newton is not the same Newton of last year that won the MVP. And even though most people don't think he deserved the MVP, he's still talented. But that whole concussion thing he's been going through, he is not the same. I know he's going to be 100% healthy, which he wasn't. I mean, you talked about this when we played last time. He wasn't when we played the first game. I think he'll be 100% healthy now, but I still am not terribly worried. I mean, I'd rather face Cam Newton and Benjamin and Olsen than I would Simeon with that Super Bowl winning offense that he got given. So I'm pretty hopeful going into Carolina. Only thing that worries me is the fact that we seem to split this series every year in Sean Payton's career. Every year.
I'm not necessarily concerned about Carolina as I am with the Saints, because I understand, everybody's going to, and we'll probably talk about it later on as well, everybody's going to talk about the block, extra point that led to the Denver Broncos winning the game. The Saints lost that game long before that play took place. And I think that's the problem that's bothered me the most. It almost seems that every year the Saints, since 2011, maybe the 2013 season at the latest, but it seems like every year the Saints give us just this little glimmer of hope in which they crawl back to respectability, and then they end up losing. And this time it looks like it's going to be they get tripped up by Denver, a game in which they should have won, and then they go to Carolina, a game in which it's doubtful, as you said, they split all the time, and it could possibly lose. And now instead of being 6-4, now you're 4-6, and you're trying to climb an uphill battle, which likely won't happen because you still have to face Tampa twice, and you still have to face Atlanta again. It's just, this is the problem that I have with the Saints. The game was there for the taking. Drew Brees, for whatever reason, he comes out, he throws 2 picks. Michael Thomas, rookie sensation, he gets humbled because he has turnovers as well. And it just seems like when it was right there for the Saints and everything was there, Sean Payton remembered he was Sean Payton. The Saints remembered that they were the Saints. And all of a sudden, boom, here you go. Now you're under 500 yet again. And I have a problem with it simply because I don't think it was Denver's offense that won them the game. I think it was the Saints offense that won the game for Denver. And it just bothers me that they're going to go into Carolina, coming off of a tough loss, a game they feel like they should have won, and now you got to go deal with Carolina, who's starting to kind of feel themselves just a little bit.
Well, I mean, I will say Carolina might be kind of feeling themselves, but keep in mind they also just played the Rams, managed to win that game, not a big deal. Played and won Arizona. Not a big deal. And then they just lost to Kansas City, who is going to the playoffs. I mean, everybody in the AFC West, not named the Chargers, is going to the playoffs. So, playoff teams they've struggled with. They lost to Atlanta. They lost to Minnie. They lost to Denver. They beat San Francisco, which San Francisco seems to be the real only game that Cam Newton was like great in. So I'm not terribly worried in terms of that. It's kind of what you said about the Saints, but also I've been saying this all year. I love this team. There's potential for next year, but this team is simply not good enough for the playoffs and more this year. They might even make it. I mean, the NFC is doing so badly this year with, 3 teams being the exception? That's it? Because Atlanta's already started their normal collapse. You've got the Seahawks, who had a crazy tie, so they've only had about 2 losses. And then you've got 2 rookies leading the Cowboys to the best record in the NFC, and everybody else is just kind of up for grabs. I mean, teams like Washington and New York having the wild card spots, even Tampa and Carolina aren't out of it in our division. I mean, so it blows my mind that the Saints still have a shot where they are right now, but they do. I mean, we could have a legitimate 8-8 teams make the wild card this year. So they got a shot, but man, they're still a 7-9 team to me because they can't just get it together all at one time. You know, either the defense gets it together like Sunday or against New York and the offense falters, or the offense comes and shows up and shows out, but the defense isn't there like against Oakland. You know, and keep in mind, Oakland, we had people like P.J. Williams and Delvin Breaux and, you know, Nick Fairley. We weren't super injured back then. So there's too up and down. There's no consistency. So I still can't jump on the bandwagon, especially now that we have another loss on the end of our schedule.
I honestly am not concerned about the Saints' consistency, as crazy as that is, because I expected them to be an 8-8 team. You know, you and I had a discussion about this. I don't think this is the year for them. I think this is the year in which they take these type of falls, because the Saints seem to be right now a team just good enough to lose. You know, and I think we've had this conversation before as well. It's the idea that, you know, you did play Oakland and you lost Delvin Breaux. You were up by 21. You lost Delvin Breaux. Everything goes south. And you still had a chance to win that game, but you blew it. Somehow, some way, you can blame the refs if you want to. Okay, fine. I know Saints fans will love to do that. But you can blame the refs if you want to. But still in all, the Saints found a way to lose that game. You had a chance to beat New York. You found some kind of way to lose that game. And that's exactly what the Saints have been this year, just like the present game against the Denver Broncos. You had that game. You came back. You fought through it. You fought past the turnovers. 4 of them, by the way, from my last count. You fought past the turnovers. You found a way in which to get yourself right there with a minute left. You allow your extra point to be blocked. If there's anything that I will remember from this game, it will be that yet again the Saints have found a way on special teams to lose, and that is the one constant that I have been seeing. It has been special teams throughout. You can lose off a turnover. That's a part of the game. You know, the Saints were gifted one against San Diego, so, you know, turnabout is fair play. You can lose games off of turnovers. But to lose a game on a blocked extra point, I don't give a damn if he stepped out of bounds 4 times. It was the idea that you allowed that extra point to be blocked. I don't want to hear anything about his, you know, the center's head being held down and all of this crap. This has happened too many times this year. In fact, it's happened too many times under Greg McMahon. And I'm just wondering, what's it going to take for somebody to get off their butts and say, you know what, we need to fix special teams because it's killing us right now. I don't worry about the Saints' consistency. I worry about the fact that the Saints seem to be exactly who we thought they were, which is a team just good enough to lose.
Yeah, I can kind of get that. I mean, there's the schedule coming up is not hard by any means. I mean, we're through the hard part of it. We got teams like the Rams and the Lions and 2 Tampa games, Atlanta again. We also got to play Carolina. So, I mean, those names don't exactly strike fear. It's just my worry. It's little things like we were up 17-10 Sunday, and we were driving to potentially put more points on the board, and we get a fumble by Michael Thomas. That leads to a touchdown. Then we have an immediate 3-and-out on the next drive. Give them the ball back. They kick a field goal. So we're down now, 2017. On the drive to try to take